actually, before we actually go, right into the mixtape and talking about it, there's a question that's playing in everyone's mind right now, especially your fans. 2 years ago, back in 2018, you released this track called Shrink. And, and if you actually recall the lyrics, it's very similar. And I'm sure all of your fans, pointed it out saying that, if 2020 is a song, this is it.
Yeah.
Did you ever think
that? I don't know how
it
happened.
We predicted the future somehow. I don't know how.
That's basically another thing that, you could add to your portfolio of time travelers.
Yeah. We predicted it, but then it was still a surprise to us as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We need to get better at understanding ourselves.
Well, at least maybe you can employ us for the Mumbai Mirror. We can do the sort of column.
Yeah, like Mystic.
Yeah, Mystic Meg.
Definitely. I'll tell you one thing with Mumbai Mirror. We have an astrology article that goes out every single day, and that's one of the most read articles that we have.
Is it?
Well, you've got your
the new faces of the...
We definitely take you up for that opportunity. So now moving on to that lovely mixtape, congratulations. That's honestly, as a fan, as a listener, it's something that we've all been looking forward to. And during times of crisis, this was such positivity. So if you could take us through this whole creative process, how was it like, writing during quarantine? How did it all go?
Yeah, so we kind of, basically, we'd been writing a lot of music over the last couple of years. But in January, we decided to start again. So we decided to start from scratch and kind of ditch a lot of the music that we'd been working on. And this was obviously before coronavirus had sort of surfaced or become, a more world-known thing. And yeah, we just started again. We went to LA and we wrote a load of music out there. And then when we got back, me and James got a studio here, which is where we're at now. And we started to piece together this new, album or mixtape. We weren't really sure what it was going to be at that point. And then coronavirus sort of came to London, and London went on lockdown, or the whole of UK actually. So yeah, so me and James had to finish what we'd started in our own separate spaces. Which was, it was a challenge, but I think we're both used to working apart anyway, because that's how we used to write music on the first couple of albums. We were doing it mainly apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, for everyone, it was a tricky time to navigate. But we were able to figure it out. And
still felt creative and everything, luckily, so that was good.
Important for us to, a lot of our music is positive generally anyway, so I think it was more important now than ever to kind of maintain that positivity and give a nice message for people to hear.
Definitely. So if you're moving on to the title track, No Song Without You, how did it go producing that track? How did you decide that this is the track that's going to front this album or this mixtape?
So that was one of the, each album we write, we kind of feel that there's always one track that becomes the blueprint for how the album or mixtape will sound. And that one was that one for us. And we wrote that in LA with someone that we wanted to work with for ages called Como, who produces a lot of the Anderson .Paak stuff. So just loads of our favourite music, basically. And we had a really great session. We wrote the whole song, and it was basically completely finished and all produced together. We produced it all together in, probably like 10 hours or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was very quick.
10 hours straight.
Really,
yeah,
wow.
we I think a lot, when you have when you enjoy what you're doing, it's quite easy to lose track of time almost and just kind of carry on. And so 10 hours was nothing really. It just flew by, and by the end of the evening, or by when we finished the session, we had this song that was basically ready to go.
And yeah, for the rest, so that was in LA, and for the rest of the trip, like the day after writing that, we went to bed thinking, I think this is really good and I love it, but maybe we'll think it's crap tomorrow, because that's sometimes the way. But we woke up the next day and put it on, and it was still like, oh, this is really special. And we were like jogging around LA together, but both with headphones on, listening to it and stuff.
I remember we were actually, we had, yeah, we did have headphones on, but we were like, okay, 3, 2, 1, play, and then we'd start jogging.
And I look at each other at our favourite bits.
Okay,
so that's how we knew. It was fairly obvious.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
and then
basically like,
we sent it around like our team and stuff, and the reaction, and everyone we've shown it to, the reaction has been kind of not like anything we've ever had before. Like the label and management and family and friends or whatever, no one has ever said like, oh, I don't really like it. They've always been like, oh, there's something special about this. It's like it's not a normal pop song, but it's you, but it sounds different, and yeah, it had everything we wanted from our first song.
wow, that's absolutely lovely to hear. I mean, has there been any other song that you thought that, okay, this sounds great tonight, and the next day you wake up and go like, not so much?
Yeah. They're all in our Dropbox folder.
But I'm sure like all your fans would just love to like hear it, because they'd still call it like a masterpiece. So considering that you guys are like perfectionists on it, so
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we've released some songs before that we've thought, is this any good? There's one called Gone Are the Days,
yeah.
which we still don't like really. But we were like, it's got to go out because I think it's good. We think it might be good, and everyone else seems to think it's all right. So let's give it a go.
So is there any song like that on this current mixtape? Or
No.
No, I think we're either we're getting well, I say we're getting better. There was so much music that we ditched leading up to this album, but I think we're just very careful at what we choose, and if it's not, good enough, or we don't feel like we would want to share it or be proud of it in a year to come, or 5 years to come, then it can't unfortunately go on. It won't go on.
So No Song Without You is some mixtape that's actually taken a little more stripped down approach to it, right? So it's a little different from your previous releases. Is it something that you already had in mind, that this is something we're going to like strip it down, or is it something like quarantine influenced you to go back to your roots?
I think it's a bit of both. Like, we always wanted to try something more like Beatles inspired, like more traditional chords. So we wanted to try that for a while, and I think because of quarantine and being back in our bedrooms kind of finishing stuff off, there's only a certain amount of energy you can kind of give to music when you're in that situation. And it was just more chilled out, I think.
I think we'd always, and over the last like year or so, the kind of music we'd been listening to had shifted a bit more towards stuff with some like live drums and some live instrument, live like acoustic guitar, more bass guitar rather than bass synths all the time. So I think that inspired it a bit as well.
I think as well, because we've been working in this space, this studio, and when we were in LA, we were in studios as well, and we had stuff to play, like guitars were around, or there'd be a drum kit.
We've got like
Oh, wow.
lots of keyboards and stuff and guitars.
That's
So
a lovely setup.
Yeah, it's nice. So it's a change for us to
Some
have
drums
something-
through here.
Ooh. Oh, is this where you recorded your video School of Rock?
Yeah. This is the School of
This
Rock.
is the School of Rock.
But because we've got all this stuff, we can try things. Whereas before, we'd be at like our computer, and you have to use sort of samples, or a MIDI bass sound, which is not necessarily the
most inspiring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know what the question or my answer was, but talking about.
No. So in a way, quarantine did allow you some room to experiment, maybe, go back to what you probably always wanted to try. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've really enjoyed kind of producing this album or mixtape in a way that almost sounds like it hasn't been produced, but it really has. Like, we've put a lot of work into it, and in a way it's harder to make something subtle and kind of strip back
and sound raw but interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're very proud of what we did.
That's lovely to hear. Do you have a favorite from the mixtape?
Yeah.
No Song Without You is one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, same. I like, just for the message, I like Smile More ×3.
That's my track at the end of every day.
Yeah.
I really like La La La, That's How It Goes. That's like really, and Free Love.
Yeah.
By My Side.
Yeah, by my side. Just listen to the whole thing.
I'm sure. So now, I think you've given fans at least a couple of hours ago where you kind of teased fans on asking, whom they'd like to see you collaborate with. So what next? Could you give us a little glimpse on, what you're planning next?
So when we were in, when we were in LA, we had that session booked in with Pomo, and we were in with someone called Dame Funk, who we're big fans of, and is part of the hip hop world. But he bumped into Pomo whilst he was in the studio, and we hadn't met Pomo yet in LA. And he was like, "Oh, Pomo's in there with an artist called Nikki, who we are really big fans of and had wanted to work with for ages."
So our ears were just like, huh?
And then, so we'd been messaging Nikki for maybe a year or so on Instagram, just like, hey, but then she never replied because she's got like millions of followers, so you never get to see it. But then she came in with Pomo and was like, "Oh my God, I love your stuff." And we were like, "What?" And I said, we've been messaging you on Instagram. Why didn't you reply? She was like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry. I've never seen it." But then we had another session with her, and we wrote "I Love You More Than I Can Say," which is a full song, but we just used the clip of that for this mixtape. But we also wrote another song, which will be on the next record.
Ooh.
As well.
Could we expect the next record in maybe by the end of this year?
No.
Probably not.
Probably earlier next year, I think.
Yeah, it will be quicker. There'll be a quicker turnaround.
Yeah, we've got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
We're definitely looking forward to it whenever it drops. I'm sure everyone would just go like, "Okay, HONNE's here, let's listen to it all."
We need to come to Mumbai.
We do.
Do we have any fans in India? I don't know.
Of course. It's in fact one of my questions. When are you dropping by? When are you touring India and dropping by Mumbai?
I really, really want to. I've never been, and I've always wanted to go. I think it would be awesome to go.
It's in fact lovely. Once when sort of COVID kind of calms down, then you should definitely come here. Maybe during the best weather is genuinely around February, March.
Really?
So it's not too hot. It's also not monsoon. So and you could try a lot of street food. If you're into spicy stuff, then it's like basically heaven here.
I mean, it sounds like heaven. We would love that.
And I can guarantee you, there are a lot of fans who are like waiting for you to come here.
Okay, that's good.
Since the live scene's, on hold, the closest that we can get to is like probably drive-through concerts, but it's still not close to the real thing.
Yeah.
But a couple of days ago, you had this very intimate session with your friends on Zoom.
Yeah.
Are you looking at making it a regular thing?
Yeah, I mean, we love that. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's great being able to see people's faces.
Yeah, that made it a lot more sort of exciting for us. Live streams are great, but just actually being able to see people is
not just playing to a computer screen. Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. I don't know what we can do. We're thinking about the next sort of step for us. I think we'd like to really, if it was possible, kind of do some more sort of targeted performances. So just play to people in India, for example, or somewhere in Asia, or in London.
Right.
Just so we can actually talk to people more about their country and kind of connect a bit more personally.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're speaking to the world, it's like you can't really pinpoint certain people.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
During quarantine, a lot of people have picked up new skills, or at least trying to, because you're like, okay, we can, we have the time right now that we, initially did not have. So, why don't we try something new? So is there any new skill that you've picked up on, or something that you've been doing that you couldn't do initially?
Yeah, so back when we were fully locked down, I was doing a lot of like cooking, but baking. So I never made so many cakes and cookies and things like that before in my life, which was good.
Yeah.
But not good for my waistline. But
that's fine.
Good for my tongue and palate.
Probably not still.
So, but did you follow the cake trend though?
Sorry?
The cake trend on Twitter, everything's a cake. If you
I didn't see that.
Yes, I have seen that.
What is that?
It's like everyone's making like
a can of Coke, and it's
like a dog food.
Yeah.
And it's gone absolutely viral to a point where you're like, even toilet rolls are now cake.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, is this reality, or is this something that everyone's doing right now? Other videos where just going like, you're thinking that it's actually cake, but it's actually a water balloon underneath the frosting.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
some cafe should make or a bakery should make like a whole bathroom, like toilet and sink out of cake.
That would be great.
So someone then sits on the toilet thinking it's a toilet and it's just a cake. And film it. Although that would also be
that's a waste of good cake.
That's true.
But it's a smart prank if you do want to prank.
Yeah, it's a great prank.
True.
It's an expensive, long-winded prank, and I like it.
Sorry I interrupted with the cake trend, but do you actually have anything that you picked up on?
Tennis,
but I always played tennis, but I've been playing it more because in our apartment block, weirdly, it has a tennis court outside. So yeah, but my girlfriend, she'd never really played tennis before, so she's improved drastically. But yeah, a bit of baking. We have like an exercise guy called Joe Wicks. Have you heard of him?
Not so much.
I think he's quite famous in Europe and America, maybe.
Yeah, he's starting to, become worldwide famous.
But he did this thing at the start of lockdown for kids, like PE classes. Mm-hmm. So the parents at 9 o'clock in the morning could be like, right, do your PE activity with Joe Wicks, and just put them in front of the TV and go and do whatever they want. So yeah, we were doing that in the garden. It was hard work, even though it's for kids.
Yeah.
Kids have got energy.
So that's really nice to hear that, a lot of people are, maybe even if it's not picking up new skills, it's just like probably maybe indulging in that long needed rest that you couldn't initially get, because, you have a few people where you don't see the dark circles anymore, and you're like, oh, you're getting 8 hours of sleep now. That's great,
It's so true.
So yeah, but in this way, like as you mentioned, like moving off the topic of skills, do you think that as a musician, as artist, has this whole time period influenced you in any way moving forward, once things open up? Maybe you'd have a different approach to live shows or to your own music.
I think I always have loved it, but I think I'll appreciate it even more. Like my yearning to leave the country and go somewhere new and exciting and wander around and try some different foods and speak to loads of different people and play some shows is quite serious at this point. So yeah, we'll really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, same really. I think it's, you realize how or you take for granted, don't you? Just lots of things when it's all normal, and then when something is put out of sync or whatever, you realise how great things were or whatever. So
yeah,
I think we'll just appreciate everything a bit more.
I think, and vice versa, you also learn that there's things that you were doing normally that is not that normal, and you should stop doing. Like I've realised how much I was eating out at restaurants and stuff with my girlfriend, because we love it, but it's also just like, it was a little bit mad. Like we needed to slow it down and cook more at home and stuff. So that's been good, and I think we've enjoyed making some more interesting things and going to supermarkets and buy like spending more money on shopping, but getting loads of really nice stuff that makes you want to eat at home.
So finally, do you have any special message for your fans?
Yeah,
loads of special messages.
So first of all, we're sorry we haven't visited you yet, but I think we are starting to feel more feel their presence more online and stuff. And we're really, really excited to come and travel there and meet people and find out more about it as a country, because we've heard so much, and it seems a lot of people who go from here, like our friends, will be like, oh, it's like a once in a lifetime experience. It's really special, and everyone needs to go and have that experience. So really want to try.